That's 50% of renters struggling to pay their own rent. And I'm here to tell you that rent increase, it's in the mail, it's on its way, bro. Rents are going up. Don't get me wrong, now is a great time to be buying property.
We spoke about the buyer's market, right?
Buyer's market, bro.
100%.
If you're the buyer, you have to get a no to your first offer. Welcome to the Teach Me About Property podcast.
Let's go.
I'm Massey Archibald, the CEO of Teach Me About Property.
Let's go.
And this is my boy, Felise.
Sup.
Before we get started, how was your week?
Oh, you know, it's actually been good, eh? Recovered from high rocks. Back in the gym, bro.
Yeah?
Lifting those weights, man. You know me.
How's that feeling?
Man, good. Recovered, definitely recovered. This week's been good. Recovered from obviously the high rocks and just back into the gym. You know, doing what I love, just moving a little bit of weight here and there. You know, just getting under that pump. So, yeah. How about you?
Different.
What does that mean?
My week's been trash, bro. Trash. So we did high rocks, and then on the Wednesday, I got sick.
Wow.
Not only that, we decided to do a short trip down to the snow down to Perisher.
Yeah. Was that supposed to help you get unsick?
Bro, I didn't even know I was sick until we were on the drive, and I was just a bit grumpy. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I was a little bit grumpy.
How long was the
drive?
drive?
I was like, it's only 5 hours. All right. So we drive down, and I'm grumpy. I'm a little bit upset. What's this? What's that? And then on the way down, I realized I'm like, wait a minute, am I sick? And we get to Jindabyne.
So that's where the snow is, right? It snows over there.
Yeah, so Jindabyne is like the town before
Yeah.
you get to Perisher.
Perisher, yeah.
Yeah. Before you get to Perisher Threadboat down there. Anyway, so we go down. It's Wednesday. I do a little bit of work in the morning. We jump in. We have a drive. We get down there about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Right? But by then, I was actually sick.
Yeah.
And then when I say I was sick, I mean decimated. Thursday, Friday,
No way.
Saturday, Sunday night,
Wow.
man. We drive back on Saturday. I couldn't drive at all.
So were you indoors the whole time?
I was indoors the whole. No, my loving wife dragged me down to the snow, and she's like, "I don't care how sick you are. You're coming with us,
Family trip.
bro." The worst experience. We drive back. I slept the whole way. Way back, and then we stopped in Mittagong. And then then I switched over. But by then, I had made her sick. I'd made MJ sick. Everyone's sick.
Oh, that's a bad trip back home.
Sunday, couldn't get up, no church, decimated. I was like...
Recovery.
No way. But what worries me, right? By Sunday night, I'm like, I don't even feel better yet. I don't even feel healthy. How am I going to... And I don't know about you. What are you like when you get sick?
Oh,
But I'm the worst.
I'm worse. Yeah.
I'm
a baby.
worst. I'm the worst, man.
Babe, give me this, babe.
Oh, you don't know how bad it is.
I can't move. Yeah,
And
paralyzed.
what makes me being that bad even worse? No empathy. None, bro. Zero
Because
empathy.
it was your fault, Massey. That's why.
I don't know if you can hear that. No empathy. No. And man, I'm a wuss, man.
Should we be wearing
I'm
masks
the
right
biggest. Oh, I'm dying. You don't understand how bad it is. And the fact, help me. Exactly, help me. Like, give me some form of affection. No affection.
Nah.
You're weak. You're
don't
not a real
deserve it.
man.
You don't deserve
Look
it.
at you. You disappoint me.
Show
as a
some
human.
form, Massey.
What is wrong with you? That was my week. Sunday night, I'm like, I got work tomorrow, bro. I gotta far out.
not
And then
even
Saturday. So I actually felt a lot better yesterday, and I feel really good today. But still dusty. If you can't see, got the UGG boots on today.
Yep.
Rolling with the UGG boots. But that was my week, man.
Wow.
It's like the worst week.
Good
I
to
thought
hear.
I was going to die.
Makes me feel better about my week.
Man, I'm even having deep conversations with the Lord. Lord, please just get me through this. I'll be a better man.
Give me
I'm telling you. I won't yell at my wife again. I'm sorry. But week. So really, that was my week for the last week. So no training, none whatsoever.
No training.
Haven't been able to train. Haven't been able to get to the gym. I'm hoping by Thursday I can get back to the gym.
Back to routine.
But you'll hear about that next week. So my week for me was me being really sick. Shout out to our sponsors, Strepsils. Strepsils,
Yeah.
bro. Get some. I don't know about you. Do you drug up when you get like
No,
the flu?
I just Vicks, Panadol, tears,
Bro,
sleep.
Well, always get the day and night flu tablets, but I only take the nights. Like me, I'm already high energy.
Yeah.
So I don't need something to boost me up more.
Yeah.
You know, I need it and my problem is my brain's going, man. I got to answer that email. I got to do this. I got that meeting. I got to do that. My brain don't shut up, so I can't just relax and let myself recover. So for me, that last week's been one to forget. But it's funny how we as men act when we get sick. Bro, I am soft. Folded like laundry, bro. Laundry. And then, like I said, to top it all off, you know, wifey doing the, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, stand up, man. Show some form, Massey.
Get up. What's wrong with you?
You're a real man.
Bro.
Shout out to Paula.
Need a little bit of empathy.
Keep him staunch, man. Keep him accountable.
When you need a little bit of, oh, babe,
come on, man.
Are you going to be okay?
Yeah.
Nah, man, nah. She's like,
you can't be changing millions of lives.
What kind of man are you?
Massey called me. What was it, Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
Thursday. He's like, what are you doing? I said, no, the kids, because school holidays right now. School
exactly.
holidays. So the kids are running amok at home, you know what I mean? And so Massey's like, oh, what are you guys doing? I said, no, we're just chilling. And he's like, yeah, come to the Airbnb. And I was like, yeah, where is it? You know, excited. Yeah, 5-bedroom. Yeah, so he shows me the house, gets his phone out, showing me the house. Whoa. Yeah, this is the bottom, the bedroom. And then he's like, I was like, so where is it? What's it called? Jindabyne. Put it into Google Maps. 5 hours.
Oh, that's one way.
5 hours with 7 kids.
He's like, is that near Wagga?
It's past Wagga. Past Canberra.
Look, it was a great trip, but being sick is not the play.
Yeah. Must be nice out there. Fresh, eh?
I don't know, man. All I know was I was the enemy. I made everyone sick. I took us away while I was sick, so that was my fault. And then I ruined the trip, and yeah, people couldn't have fun. So, but back at it now. Back at it. And we're here hustling and grinding.
Let's go.
On the podcast.
All right, here are some questions for Massey.
Let's go.
So this from news.com.au.
Okay.
Living in fear, almost half of renters struggling to pay rent. Let me read this. Shocking new data reveals almost half of Aussie tenants struggled to pay their rent in June.
That's
with
crazy.
Millions dreading their next call or email from the landlord.
Yeah, that's really real,
That's
baby.
real talk, bro.
That's real talk. 50% though? Did you think it would be that high?
50%.
That sounds high, bro.
What percentage of Australians rent? What's the population in Australia? 20 million?
20?
22?
Look, about 30% of Australians rent.
Okay.
Right? Population's 27, 28 million, somewhere around
Yeah.
there, right? So you're talking 6-7 million people rent.
Wow.
And they're saying 40% of those 7 million people are struggling to pay their rent. What was it? Fearful? Or they're fearful? Living in fear of another rent increase? Bro, that's real. That's real. Rents are going to go up. Rents are going up.
For a tenant, that's like if they get an email from the from the real estate.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? That can trigger them. They're like, oh, what's this email about? You know? Or what's this about? Is it a rent increase or what?
Well, I think the other thing that's driving the fear is it's now expected rents are going to go up. You know what I mean? And what everyone's got to understand is, man, rents went up a lot during COVID.
Yeah.
A lot. Went up really aggressive, really fast during that period. And everyone's only just coming to terms with that. And now they're like, oh, wait a minute, rent's going to be going up again. And so for me, what's driving the fear, it's like, you know when you know something bad's going to happen? And that's kind of worse than it actually happening.
Yeah.
Because you're anticipating that the bad thing's going to happen.
Happens.
It's like you're going to get, when you get in trouble with your parents when you're young.
Yeah.
And
you prepare yourself mentally.
That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Knowing you're going to get in trouble from your parents is worse than getting in trouble from your parents.
It's like having that fear, the anxiety, and you're carrying that every day.
100%. So first of all, that number is high. 50%. What was it, 40%?
No, 50%. Almost half.
50%. Almost half.
Almost half of Aussie tenants struggled to pay their rent in June.
That's crazy.
As in last month.
That's last month, guys. So this is not old news. This is like
June
current.
2026. June 2026.
And what you got to understand, that's higher than mortgage stress, right? So there's good data on mortgage stress. There's about maybe 30% of people that experience mortgage stress.
Yeah.
That's 50% of renters struggling to pay their own rent.
Wow.
And what's making this worse, we've said it before here on this podcast, the government changes.
Yeah.
Rents are going up. I'm telling you, this episode and the next few episodes, you're going to be hearing a lot about rents going up. because people are just going to make adjustments based on what the government's put in play for everyone. So you've got 50% of people that are struggling to pay their rent today, and they're living in fear that they're going to get another rent increase. And I'm here to tell you that rent increase, it's in the mail, it's on its way, bro. Rents are going up. Up. So yeah, the fear's justified.
Well, for me, I'm definitely hearing it. You know, from speaking to families.
Yep.
Hence, that's what's driving them to want to get into their first property.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they're hitting us up. You know, they're like, how do I get out of renting? Like, my rent is at a certain amount. I think, wouldn't a mortgage be the same price as my rent? You know, that's kind of what they're thinking. You know,
the paying's high enough on the rent that they're considering all their options.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'll tell you what's been taken off the table.
Well, actually, I spoke to someone yesterday, Massey. This person, they've been living in their home for 10 years, Massey.
Renting.
Yep. And now
there, bro. Been there.
And now the owner wants to move back into the property.
Yeah, wow.
And so they're on a deadline. They've got to move out of the property by August.
Wow.
But the big shocking for him was his rent. He thought it was expensive, right?
Yeah.
But now he's out there in the rental market trying to look for a rental property. His rent now is like $550.
It's nothing.
Right? And I was like, so what are the rental prices? Or what are you looking for? He's like, we can only afford $650. But the property at $650, it doesn't look nowhere near what they're renting right now. It's like a 3-bedroom. They're living in a 4-bedroom.
Yeah.
So he's realizing how much rental properties are right now, you know?
Yeah, so generally the people who get the best deals on rents are the long-term
renters.
tenants. So generally what happens is, you know, the rents don't go up as fast when you've stayed there, and the agent as well as the landlord tend to do the math and go, you know what, they're good tenants. We're happy to just, you know,
keep them in,
and they look after them. So they get the best deals, and then when those people go to move, but
then also the mortgage, if 10 years, the mortgage it's, you know, the rent is already covering the mortgage, so it's not as high, the growth, you know what I mean, like the property price.
Well, the other big thing that happens when most people get rental increases, if they're not happy, then what they do is they go, no, stuff that we're not paying, and they move.
Yeah.
And they get another place, right? The problem now is there ain't no another place at that price.
Yeah.
So you
that's what he realised. He realised that.
Yeah.
He was like, man, well, first of all, he has to move out, but he didn't realise how
that's
expensive the rental market is right now.
Yeah. So, and I was reading an article, similar article, and this is what it said. Before, people would move and they'd go, well, I'm not willing to pay that, and they would find an alternate property.
Other options.
There are no other options.
options.
In fact, what they're finding is the deal I'm getting is actually pretty
good. It's actually
good.
a really good deal.
And so then it's just pride.
Yeah, it's a reality check. Welcome to the market.
I've already said to the property manager, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
I'm not paying that.
And then they call back and
they're
say,
going to go
is
back.
it still available?
I was thinking. So you got to be a little bit humble and realise when you are on a good deal. And so the long-term tenants, people who've been there 10 years plus, they tend to get the best rents. But everyone out there, rent's going up, baby. Rent's going up.
Okay, cool. So here's another article from news.com.au, which I think is Australia facing mother of all house price corrections. Top economist warns Aussie homeowners are facing the biggest price correction we've ever seen, according to the man who designed how home values are calculated. But talk to me, man. House prices going down?
House prices, we're in for a correction, 100%. But here's what I want everyone to understand, right? As soon as the market softens, right? And because what happens is the newspaper articles talk 30 to 40% price drops. Okay. That's what they talk about.
Yeah.
It's going to be the worst ever. Yeah. It's going to drop
obviously
by 30%.
It's a hook.
40%.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, because, that gets clicks. It works. Yeah. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So, what you will get is you'll get pockets. And right now, in the Australian market, the top end is actually the softest. So what that means, I read an article the other day, and it was a property was purchased for maybe $6.4 million. Maybe 12 months ago, 6.4 mil, and they sold, and it had dropped by like 700,000.
So that's what you mean, the top end is...
Yeah. So what that means is instead of paying $6.5 million, you're paying, 5.8 million?
That's a pretty good deal.
Right. For first homeowners, where you at?
Bro, that's hundreds of thousands, man.
Right, so top end. So you're saving 700,000, but instead of it being 6.5 million, it's like 5.8. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like,
Who can
oh
afford
wow.
that?
Well, the people who are buying there, okay, that's a good
They've
deal.
owned, the upselling or the
But that's not helping like Mr. and Mrs. First Homeowner.
yeah.
Right? And what I want you to understand is the market is not one market. So what we are going to see and what we are seeing right now is the Australian market is softening. I read an article this morning, even Perth, which has performed extremely well, everything's softening, right? A lot of people are sitting on their hands. The auction clearance rates are below 50%. Like
Wow.
Getting smashed out there,
Wow.
right? So, but what happens is, the first thing is, the vendors want last year's prices. They want the high. Oh, but my neighbour sold for 6.5 million. I want 6.5 million.
Yeah.
Right. And then,
Recent sales. Look at the recent sales.
But then the buyers come in and they're going, no, I read in the paper that I should be getting a 40% discount.
Yeah.
And so what happens is no sale.
Yeah.
No sale.
Yeah.
Because the buyer is way below expectations and the seller's expectations are too high. So in the next period...
So that's what you mean by a price correction?
Well, the price correction has to happen where they both agree what the price is.
Yeah.
So there's no sale, first of all, when there's no offers. So if a property goes to auction and no one bids, no sale.
Worse.
No sale. Right, so you got a couple of neighbours, nosy neighbours. Hey, man, let's here we go.
Oh, is this what the house looks like?
Bob and Susie are selling. Let's go and have a look. No bids,
Wow.
right? But then the other one is if there was a bid and it was too low and the vendor's like, I'm not taking that, then it doesn't sell as well. So properties are not selling. But the market is correcting. Don't get me wrong. Now is a great time to be buying property.
We spoke about the buyer's market, right?
Buyer's market, bro.
100%.
So now if you're in the market, you offer below the listed price.
Yeah.
I see that your property is $1.2 million. We're happy to offer you $1 million or $1.1 million.
Yeah.
So in this market...
Any offer's a good offer.
Well, if you're an agent, any offer's a good offer, right? But if you're the buyer, you have to get a no to your first offer. Does that make sense? Well, so if you've got the property for sale, right, and you're offering it for $1.2 million, and I go to you and I say, I'll give you $1.18 million, and you say,
yes,
then what do I think?
That's,
I should have gone lower.
you should have gone lower.
That's right.
Yeah,
So what I want...
Go well below.
Yeah. So then you've got it for sale for 1.2. I come in and I say, I'll give you 1.05. I'll give you $1 million.
Yeah.
And you say...
No.
There you go. Now I know.
Way.
Okay, he's definitely not taking
down
a mil.
the road, they sell like this. My
That's
house is
right.
bigger.
He's definitely not taking a mil. So then I'll come up a little bit from a mil.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's the game we're in now.
Yeah, well.
The game we're in now
First
is
time buyers, man.
you have to get a no. You have to get a no for all your offers, right? So if you're playing that game and you're a first homeowner and you hate negotiating, and most first homeowners don't like negotiating.
Yeah.
Most real estate agents live for the negotiation.
Yeah.
Right?
Love that.
Love it. They're like, bring it on, come on, you know.
Just put offer in. Just
Yeah.
write it down.
Just you're right here.
Do you want to
Sign
text it to
here.
me? Just text it
Sign
to
the
me.
contract.
Yeah.
Just get your solicitor. But the smartest thing to do is if you're a first homeowner and you're making offers and you're not great at negotiations and you don't like the confrontation, you don't like that energy, right? Then the way that you play the game is text messages.
Yeah.
Text messages.
Yeah, just go to the property, come back.
So it's not good to break up on text, but it is great to buy properties via text.
Yeah. I think that's a good insight, man.
Yeah,
it's valuable right there.
It takes away. So first of all, the worst form of negotiating, if you're not good at negotiating, is in person.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there, and Mr. Real Estate Agent who does this for a living,
10
been
years,
doing it for
every day.
15 years, hammers people all day long, just like you, and you got to sit there and negotiate with them face to face.
Yeah.
That's not going to
Don't
work
do
in your favor. You are not going to. You're not going to come out on top in that.
Yeah, but it's not like you buy a property every day. So no.
So most people don't enjoy. Most people don't enjoy the negotiation process.
Yeah.
Right? They don't like it, and so the best thing to do is don't be in person. The second one is, okay, well, I'll do it on the phone. The problem is on the phone, if they say something, you've got to be able to respond.
They'll say
and they're
something.
fast. They're fast, and they're saying 2 or 3 things back, and you're still trying to chat GPT your
Yeah,
answer. You know what I mean? So kill that too.
Just text.
Do it on text.
Yeah, that's
text
good
gives you
insight.
time, it gives you space. You can control when you respond.
reply
you
when you
respond
want.
when you're ready, and you can respond with as much detail or as little as desired.
Yeah.
Right? And so we had a first homeowner student recently, and she was in the negotiation process. Young girl down in Melbourne, in the Melbourne market, buying in the outer west.
Yeah.
And she wanted to do it on her own. So we're like, yeah, man, I'll just support you. Just let me know what you need. She's like, yeah, I want to go to all
She
the
went to the
things.
property, did the inspection.
She went and did all the inspections, and the agent, she made an offer which was her max, which was well below, and she just offered her
In
max.
person?
Oh no, it would have been like as a follow-up.
Yeah.
So she went out, looked at heaps of properties that weekend, and then just made a couple of offers on the ones that she liked. And at first, the agent kind of ignored the message because it was early on in the campaign for the property.
Yeah.
And so they thought they were going to get more. Lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, she gets
Get the call back.
Gets the call back.
Yeah.
And the agent's like, well, why don't we do this? Why don't you come in?
Have another look.
Sit down. No. Come into the office.
Over to the office.
Don't worry about the property.
Yeah.
We're doing a deal.
Oh, they're buying the office now.
Come into the office. Come into the office where you'll sit in a bright lit room, me and you staring at each other, one on one. And he's like, just come in and then we'll get the best deal when you come in. And I said to her, no, you're not going in.
Yeah.
You're not going into that office.
Yeah.
What are you going to go
into their world?
What are you going to do there?
Yeah.
I said, no. I said, first of all, you got to tell them there's no point meeting until you agree on the price.
Yeah. Wow. There we go.
No point meeting.
There's those liners right there.
No point meeting unless we can agree. Whereas he's saying, come in and we'll figure out the best deal when you get in.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, bro. That's not how this works. Because she's young. She's maybe 23.
23. First time buying property.
First time looking at properties. Noidea.com.
Yeah.
So he's thought he's just going to handle her and get her into and get the... Yeah, nah, that didn't happen. So I was like, no, you're not going in.
Stay on text.
Reiterate, this is the offer.
Yeah.
If you can't confirm that offer, there's no point us meeting.
That's right.
And so he left it. He come back again.
Yeah.
A week
She's
later.
got the power.
Yeah. And now she messages me again. Hey, I've confirmed with him. I'm going to go in and meet with him on Saturday. I was like, no. You're not going into the office. I said, did he agree on the terms? She's like, not yet. I was like, you need to say to him again, we're not meeting until we agree. This is my offer. That's all I'm willing to pay. I'll meet with you once you confirm that the vendor has accepted my offer.
Price, yeah.
And then his tone changes. Because he's like, clearly someone's helping this person.
Yeah.
And then he accepted the offer, and they only met to sign their contract.
Oh, so he ended up, the real estate ended up accepting her offer, the initial
100%,
offer.
Yeah.
And what was that time frame of negotiating?
Maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Wow.
And so this is the market now, guys. It's
So that's
make
what you mean by
offers and wait.
correction, softening.
So as right now, when you're selling, the longer you have the property on the market, the less you're going to get for it.
Yeah.
Right now, as a buyer...
Best offers coming within the first couple of weeks.
So this is the big thing now. Yeah, the best offers... The
Yeah,
first
selling,
offers you
that's
get
what
are the
they've
best
gotta
offers you're going
understand.
to get.
That's the market right now.
Yeah. But as a buyer, make more offers, right? And wait.
And hold.
And hold, right? Just hold. Offer. People will say no. Be prepared to get lots of no's. This is a no market.
Yeah, it's a great
and then what
insight.
happens is the no's call you back. And when they call you back, then you can be like, oh, okay. And my understanding was the offer was a bit low.
Yeah.
So the vendor's willing to consider, well, they haven't said yes and think, okay, well, we're not willing to move. In fact, you might even want to adjust your offer downwards when you get the other call. That's the market we're in.
That's the market we're in, eh?
So we're not in the mother of all corrections. Look, for me, that's good for clickbait. That's good for views. We are in...
But they're seeing signs in the market.
No, the market is correcting.
Yeah.
So that's right.
definitely
So the
correct.
market is definitely correcting.
But they obviously
Prices
make
are
it
coming
dramatic
down.
and yeah.
But the mother of all corrections, no, that's not what this is. We're going to go through a period where the prices are going to soften and smart people are going to be out making offers, lots of offers on properties.
So this was similar to 2020, COVID?
No, 2020, no one wanted to make an offer in 2020. Everyone was like, the world's going to end.
Yeah, why would I want to buy one?
Yeah, why would I buy? This is similar to like post GFC.
Really?
Even 2019, 2017, 19, in that period.
Yeah.
Where the market really softened. You can get in, and this is the best time to make the most offers on the most properties. And not buying any single property, but buying the best deal that you can get. That's the market that we're in now.
So with that, we're also seeing projections
Yep.
of the Sydney medium house prices within Australia going up within the next 4 to 5 years. So, for example, right now in Sydney medium house price is 1.6 million. And in 2030, it's going to be 2.4 million. So we're talking about the market softening, but then it's saying in the next 4 years that it's going to go from 1.6 to 2.4. And that's most states within Australia.
Yeah, because
Where's that coming about? Like what's happening there?
well, markets are cyclical, and when they're talking about what most people need to understand is generally the downturns, they're short run. They don't last long, and then the market kicks off again.
Yeah.
So I want you to view this from a buyer perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because you speak to a lot of people that
Yeah.
want to get into the market and
100.
you get into property. So what happens is most people, you'll hear this all the time. Oh, we're going to wait till the property prices come down.
Yeah.
Right? Oh,
That's
Felise,
right.
prices are pretty expensive.
Yeah,
we're
my
going
mate,
to wait.
Yeah, my mate said.
Yeah, we'll wait till the property prices come down. Well, this is that market.
Now's
Right?
the time.
Now is the time. But most people won't buy now. Why? Because they're scared. There's a lot of fear. All of the sentiment, all of the articles, oh, don't buy. You could end up with negative equity. So there's so much fear that comes across that all those people who said that they would wait till the property prices go down, when the property prices go down, they say, oh, it's not the right time.
Not the right time.
Excuse me. So they say it's not the right time to buy now. And then they wait. And then the property prices go back up.
Yeah.
And then what do they say? Our prices are too high. We'll wait till the property price comes down. So you don't want to get caught in that. Now is the time. What people don't realize is the negative sentiment is short-lived. Right? Let's say 12, 18, 24 months.
Okay.
That's a long period where the market's flat and negative, right? But after that, bro, sunshine.
Yeah.
Sunshine. So yeah, by 2030, it's going to be a very, very different market to 2026. But you make the money in 2030 by buying the property now.
By making decisions now, yeah.
And so all of the other downturns that we've lived through as a company here at Teach Me About Property.
Yeah. 10 years, man. We've been around.
Yeah. So we've seen a couple of down cycles. The people who made the most money are the ones who bought in the down cycle.
In the similar
right now.
time that we're in, position that we're in right now.
Yeah, buy now. Because what happens is the yeses that you get, remember, the strategy that we said is you make a lot of offers on properties, right? And you're only taking the best offer.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the first thing. So you're gonna see, and for us, we see all types of property, new with your house and land packages,
Yep.
as well as existing
Established,
property,
yeah.
established, whatever it is. So what happens is on the house and land package side and the new property side, they start to incentivize.
Yeah,
Well,
so
you
that's
think
where
about
you
it.
see.
The builders, the developers, they're like, man, nothing's selling.
Yeah,
What are we got to do to sell these properties? Mate, drop the price by 20 grand. Chuck in a free stove.
Yeah.
Give them this, give them that. And so what
Pay for
happens
stamp duty, just
we'll
negotiate.
pay for, so
other people's money.
what happens right now is a lot of the
Are we seeing that? We're seeing that?
We're starting to see incentives.
We're
Actually,
starting to see
in my inbox the other day, I saw a property price reduction, 100K off.
Home and land package.
Yeah, 100K off.
100K off.
100K off, yeah. And I was like, okay, so this is...
These are signs.
Yeah, signs. So because we're finger on the pulse, we're
That's
in
right.
the market.
We're very close to the market,
We're in the market. We're living through the market. Everything's going on. But what you realize is it's all part of the cycle. So when the market is down, there's people that have to sell.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of those people are developers. They've developed properties. They've got to sell them. Builders got to keep building or they got no company.
Yeah.
So builders are like, you know what? We need to sharpen the deal. The phones aren't ringing. What can we do to get the till ticking over and people building properties?
Get better offers,
So what do?
Make
better offers, better deals,
incentives.
reduce prices, incentives. Mate, chuck in a fence, chuck in a new washing machine,
Furniture.
$30,000 off package, whatever you
Wow.
want to call it.
Yeah,
So all of
yeah.
that. So that's where we are.
Wow.
So we're in the incentives phase, and then
Man,
some
that's-
people,
That's
it's just hard on price.
Right.
We'll drop the price by $100,000. Right? We'll drop the price by $100,000. And those deals, they're right there right now. And so the question, people are like, oh, well, but if we buy now, then it drops further. We could lose money.
Yeah.
So people get caught in that. And then when the market moves upwards, then they're
Yeah.
like, people only realize in hindsight when the bottom was.
Yeah.
They don't realize at the bottom that this is
Well, I think
the
there's that quote that you said, Massey. I think earlier on when I was with TMAP, What's the long property prices today? Always seem
always seem cheaper.
property prices today always seem expensive.
No,
What's that phrase?
Property prices today always seem cheap in the future, right? But property prices today always feel expensive.
Yeah.
Because it's the highest the prices have been.
Yeah.
So and because today it feels expensive, but you add 10 years, 15 years, people are like, man, why didn't you buy two?
Yeah.
It was so cheap.
No,
back then.
that's always the conversation.
Always
When did
the
you buy it? 10
conversation.
years ago. How much did you buy it for?
Oh, mate, that's so
And
cheap.
you're like, man, should have bought two back then.
So we're at this phase in this market where there's a great opportunity to go and secure a great deal
Yeah.
right now. Great incentives, property discounts are on the table, and so that's the play right now. Go find the best deal. Let me tell you about a family. There's a couple. They're in their 50s,
Yep.
early 50s, both professional, earning great incomes, probably just over $300,000.
Ooh, 300K.
Good cash, great money. They're looking to buy their first home. They've also got great super,
Okay.
so over
How much?
400K.
400K.
Super. Yeah.
Solid.
So, great super, great income. They're in the journey now. They're like, yep, we want to buy our own home.
Okay.
So we did the borrowing capacity. Turns out they could buy a property for about 1.5 mil. Right?
Solid.
Yeah, solid.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, Southwest Sydney, so 1.5. That
Yeah,
can work.
you
That
can get something
work, right?
decent.
So we run the numbers, and when you're looking to purchase, probably the three biggest numbers are: what's my borrowing capacity?
Yep.
How much deposit am I going to need if I buy a property for that price? And then what's my mortgage repayments? So we've run the numbers on those three things:
Yep.
borrowing capacity, mortgage repayments, and deposit. So we've come back, we've sat down in a meeting, and when I had a conversation with the family, I said, look, guys, your borrowing capacity is 1.5 million, but we're thinking a good purchase price would probably be 1.1 million. Right, 1.1 million. At 1.1 million, here's the numbers. They would need 102,000 as the deposit.
As a deposit?
So they're first homeowners, so that's a 5% deposit through the government's 5% guarantee scheme.
Yep.
Because it's 1.1, there'd be duty, so
Yep.
they'd trigger some duty. So they need about $102,000 plus some costs change. So, okay, $1.1 million purchase price, $102,000 as the actual deposit. And the mortgage repayment per month would be $6,275.
6,200, yeah.
Right, which is a fair
that?
whack, about $1,500.
1,500 a week.
About $1,500 a week, give or take.
Yeah.
Right?
300,000 income, yeah.
So when I spoke to them, they
Yeah.
were like, yeah, okay, but what we're thinking is probably 1.4 million.
1.4.
1.4 million is probably a better
Give me
purchase
all
price.
the borrowing capacity.
So I'm like, okay, let's run the numbers on what that means. So the deposit that they would need is about 132,000. So they'd need another 30,000 on the deposit,
Okay.
right? But the big red flag for me is probably more the repayment.
What's the repayment?
The repayment is $7,984 per month.
So $2,000 a week.
That's pretty much 2 G's a week. It's what we call real money. Real money.
Yeah, but it's the first home, you know? It's got to be the home.
As a first mortgage, $2,000 a week or just under $8,000 a month, that is a monster first mortgage. That is a shock.
Wait, so they knew the numbers?
No, they didn't know the numbers.
They didn't know the numbers.
Well, why do you think they said 1.4? Tell me.
Well, obviously they joined Team Up.
Yes.
It's like, I'm going to buy my home.
Yes.
Our first home. We're
Yes.
going to do it. We're going to break the cycle, right?
And
then we're like, okay, so where are we going to buy?
Yes.
What type of property are we going to get?
Yes.
Yeah? Get the phone out.
The phone.
We got realestate.com. Let's start looking. Well, what's your budget?
Massey said 1.1.
Yeah, what's the budget?
Let's have a look at 1.1.
1.1, okay. Start looking in the areas. The property just don't match the goal. The property don't match the vision, man. Come on, they're buying their first home.
1.1 up. Let's bump that 1.1 up. And so that's what got them to $1.4 million is they're searching on realestate.com.
They're looking at houses.
They're looking at houses.
That's normal, but you know,
They're like, well, actually, we want this and we want a bit of space and we want this, that, and the other. And look, this is
The kids
like
need
you
to have their first room, their own
normal,
room.
It's natural. It's real. Look, the kids are older. They're not youngins. They all work.
But it's the family home.
Yeah, so then family home. We want a big home. We want everyone there. What I suppose the conversation today is what do you actually consider when it comes to purchasing?
Wait. So when you told him the numbers, how did that conversation go like? What was that like?
Yeah, and this is where you got to understand the divergence. So our focus is the numbers. Their focus is the property.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
But what I want you to understand is you don't want the dream home to become a nightmare. Right? And the way that the dream home becomes a nightmare is the mortgage means it takes everything you've got just to pay that mortgage.
Yeah.
And $7,984.
So round it up to $2,000.
Bro.
Interest rates are going up.
That's $8,000 a month, bro.
Man, $8,000.
That's proper.
That's $2,000 a week.
That's $2,000.
And that's not even food.
So obviously from our perspective, we're numbers first.
Yeah.
Right? But
Yeah.
from a purchaser's perspective,
Yeah. It's
right, from a student's perspective,
Emotional, boy.
their property will show me what property I can get for them.
Yeah. What's my budget? Or what can I get?
What can I get? We're looking. We don't like anything. So at Teach Me About Property, we talk about the property buying triangle.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you do when you don't have the budget to buy the property you want?
But I know you're going to get into. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying, what did they say about it? When you had the conversation, like when you showed them the reality of it, like what was the reaction? Like what was?
So their reaction
Are they open
is
to it,
no,
or?
their reaction is we've been looking. That is the reaction.
Okay.
We've been looking and we can't see anything within our areas for the $1.1 million budget that you said.
Up it.
What we feel is 1.4 million is more realistic for what we're looking
What
for.
we're looking for.
That was the reaction.
Yeah.
So everyone does their homework. We go away, do our homework, and people naturally, realestate.com,
Yeah.
let's go.
It's time.
Let's go. Domain, real estate, let's look
Let's
everywhere.
go. Yeah.
You know? And look, it's an exciting time, but reality meets the budget. Now, the hard part here is they actually have the borrowing capacity.
Yeah.
They have the capacity to go up to that number.
Yeah.
Right? But just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
But what you got to understand at Teach Me About Property is you're in control. You make the decision.
Yeah.
Right? But what I know as a mortgage, the first mortgage you're ever going to have as a family, 8 G's a month, that is proper. That ain't never going to sleep, bro.
That's non-stop.
That's non-stop.
That's month in, month out.
Month in, month out, week in, week out. That's
Regardless
all
of
of that
what's
spare
happening.
cash that you had that was play money because you guys are on 300, right? So there's heaps of spare cash in the home.
Oh, the early 50s.
Yeah, early 50s. But what happens is that mortgage just absorbs all of that spare money.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's gone. Because what are they paying? $850 a week in rent?
So the same property, if they were to rent, would be about $850.
No, that's what they would be paying currently, right? Because
Currently.
850 is median rent in Sydney.
So they got extra K.
So you're paying another $1,200 per week. So that $1,200
Per
is
week?
all of the money that you used to just go, oh babe, we'll get Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Oh babe, you want to go here?
It's
All
a
of
deal.
that-
It's a special deal on.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just buy it. So that's all of the spare cash, $1,200 a week.
Gone.
Is just gone. So I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying you should. I'm saying this is worth a lot of your consideration. So when we get to the property buying triangle, there's 3 things
Yep.
that you need to consider when it comes to buying a property.
Yeah. Put your emotions aside.
Most people don't have the budget they want to buy the first property that they want.
Okay.
Right? So how do you compromise? What does the compromise even look like? Well, if we have the triangle, on one side, you've got the price of the property. On another side, you've got the type of property.
Type of property.
So the type of property is it
Apartment,
is it a unit?
Villa.
Is it a house? Is it a villa?
Freestanding home.
Is it a 3-bedroom house? Is it a 4-bedroom house?
Yeah,
Is it
double
a
story.
5-bedroom house?
That's a family
Is it
home.
double
It's gotta be a
story?
big one.
So that's all of the
Acreage.
types. Yeah. Right? And then, so you've got price, you've got property type, and the last one is location.
Oh.
Location. So this is the one. If in most markets, if you're hitting a ceiling around the pricing, the biggest thing to adjust, if
the
you're not
location.
wanting to compromise on the property type, you have to compromise on the location.
Okay.
And so what does location mean? For most people, if they've been renting for any if they're in their early 50s and they're established in their careers,
Yeah.
chances are they've been renting in the area
Certain
they're
area.
in for
Yeah.
quite a while.
That's right.
And so everything that's comfortable to them is in that area.
Their area. Yeah.
So all of a sudden when you say
School,
moving, they're
shops,
like, oh, wow,
doctors.
driving. Yeah, but work.
Work. Yeah.
You've got multiple family members that work. And so they're set up around
route
that.
is set, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you go, no, well, let's adjust location. Because can you buy a property in Sydney, $1.1 million, can you still get a house in Sydney that would meet? Yeah, you can, but it's not going to be exactly where they were in terms of the location.
It's not going to be in the location.
It's not going to be in that location. But you can get something for 1.1 million that would be like, hey, this isn't too bad. But what are you up for now? Well, you're up for a drive.
Yeah.
You're up for, well, this is not as convenient as where I was before.
Yeah.
So then you go, well, okay, if convenience is the number one and you want to stay close to everything, okay, well, then let's compromise the type of property.
The property type.
So you can stay in exactly the area you were in, but now instead of getting a 4-bedroom house out in Seatown or somewhere like that, well, now you can stay in the area you're in, but you're probably getting a 2-3-bedroom unit. And they're like, we don't want a unit. And I'm like, okay, cool. Right? I'm just presenting options.
Options, yeah.
It's all you're saying is, as someone who's buying our first home,
Yeah.
all I'm trying to get you to understand is what are your highest priorities.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get all of them, if you don't get the ideal location and the ideal property type at the ideal price, then the chances are you're only going to get 2. So, but you get to choose which 2 you keep and which one you got to let go of.
Yeah.
But if you can't afford all 3, you don't get all 3, right? So it's not harsh.
Yeah.
It's just, and what happens here is there just needs to be a little bit of time around that decision-making process.
Yeah.
Because at first people
Well, the
go,
expectation's up. And then obviously we're giving them the options, the reality of what things are going to look like moving forward.
Yeah, but people are also, they're looking. So they're adjusting. And so what happens is people run their own numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, let's push the price up to 1.4 mil.
Yeah.
But that $8,000 a month, that's proper, bro. Proper.
$2,000.
$2,000 a week. So that's a real price. So then it's about getting the family to understand.
Okay.
Is it the house that we want or is it the area that we want? Which is it? And then sometimes that's not a decision they'll make straight away.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll push. Now the worst decision people can make, what do you think it is?
Do nothing.
Is to do nothing.
Yeah, hold. Do we see that?
All the time.
Okay.
Because they're not willing to make any compromise on any of those 3 areas.
Yeah.
And so they do absolutely nothing.
They justify it and doing nothing.
And then 10 years later, still renting. Right? But the smart families realize, okay, Massey, well, if we can only have 2 of the 3, these are the 2 that we want.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they might come back and say, look, we've talked about it. We'll bite the bullet on the area. We'll move out of the area, but we definitely want a 4-bedroom house, single story. We're getting a bit older. We don't want to be climbing upstairs.
Yeah.
So we want a house. We want 5 bedrooms. We want to keep the whole family together. We're multi-gen. We don't want any stairs, and we want a bit of space. That's what we want. That's what we really want. And if we have to drive an extra half an hour or 45 minutes to get that, we're willing to do that.
Yeah, we're willing to accept it.
And it's okay, now we can work on that and we can go and get you what you really want.
So they're adjusting the location.
They adjust on the willingness to drive. Because that's what happens.
That's all it is.
In Sydney, you got to drive, bro.
Yeah.
If you can't get exactly what you want in the location that you want, it means time in the steering wheel.
Yeah.
You got to drive. You got to drive longer to get to work. You got to drive to pick the kids up to get to school. You got to drive. You have to drive. And so that's a process, especially if life is comfortable.
Yeah.
Everything's right there.
Yeah.
We know all the neighbors.
that's right.
We know this, we know that.
True.
My favourite shop's just around the corner.
Yeah.
I got this there. I just stop on the way home from work and I get this. And then so the disruption around that's what you're really paying for. And that's hard for families to come to terms with. It's hard. Especially, families when they're in their 50s, often they could be caring for one of the parents.
That's right.
And so then there's that factor that comes in
the
as well.
factor of the kids move back in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Especially if it's a big house.
Big house. Or they don't want the kids to have to move out.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they're like, no.
Or to help set them up too.
Well, what they say is we can afford the $2,000 a week as a family if we all stay together. So then we definitely need the bigger house. So that can come into
that
it
can
as
come
well.
into play.
And so a lot of families, you know, if they're in their 50s, the kids are older, they're either married or they're all working professionally and they're in relationships, then you can, it's not only have you got mum and dad's $300 a year, you've also got the other incomes in the household.
Work?
It works. The main thing that determines whether or not that works is the attitude of the parents. Some of the parents are like, no, we're okay. I don't want the kids contributing. We're fine. Other ones are, you pay.
Yeah.
You pay.
Yeah, the family
Pay.
house.
Everyone pays.
Yeah,
and it's the family house, everyone pays. So, but what determines on whether or not, or how that works is the attitude of the parents. And if the parents are of the everyone pays, it's the family house, then everyone pays. But if they're also of the, no, I don't want my children to struggle so they don't have to pay and we'll cover all the bills, then that plays out as well. So that's the big thing. So this is a scenario that we're seeing play out a lot because...
So with that family, are they still going through the thinking phase?
Still going through the process.
Yeah, man.
They're still going through the process.
Yeah, and it's real life. It's
real guys.
It's real life, real families.
Well, here's what makes it hard.
They might have kids, grandkids, and
No. What makes it hard is the numbers are so big. You're talking $1.1 to $1.4 million. And so really in the back of their mind, they're going, I want to spend $1.1 million and I'm not even going to get something I like.
Yeah.
That's what makes it hard.
Yeah.
Because in any other area of your life, $1.1 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you get to property and people are like, oh, that's your budget. You only got 1.1. Is that all you got? Mate, you can't get another couple of $100,000.
Yeah, well.
And anything else that you would be buying in your life, 1.1 million is a monster.
Yeah, that's the internal thought that they're going through.
That's the wrestle that's going on internally.
And then it's like, well, why would I bother? Well, just stay.
I'm not going to spend
just stay do what we're doing now.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend $1.1 million to get something I don't even like. So that becomes part of the conversation. And so what do we always say to people? Your first home is not your dream home.
Yeah.
Right? Your first property.
So it's kind of important to pull them out.
Yeah.
From the, because they can be into the details and pull them back and be like, all right, just,
Yeah, and helping people.
Is that something common that we do all the, with our students? Or commonly just...
Look, what families struggle to realise when they don't own a home is that because they're all in on this one property.
Yeah.
And they think this property is it.
That's it.
And this is the dream home. It's the only home. So helping someone who's never owned a home to kind of grasp at the reality that this is just one property, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
You're going to own multiple properties in your lifetime.
Oh, well, you can afford to get what you
want.
Yeah.
So they don't see that, right? They see like, I've fought so long and so hard for this. We're going to get this property.
What's a new concept to them?
Yeah, the concept is foreign.
Yeah, foreign.
Owning multiple properties is like a million light years away because we've never owned one. So what are you even talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
But what we try to help people to understand is the property that you don't really want and it's not the perfect property, that property is going to go up in value and that's going to help you to get to the property that you really want. So that's so helping people to realise it could be a stepped process.
Do we see families just embrace it anyways? They're like, no, just give me the 1.4. Just put them in that position.
100%. 100%. Some families are like, no, that's what we want.
That's what we want.
And what you got to understand is our responsibility is not to make the decision. Our responsibility is options and information.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
So if you're making the decision, you got all the information. So they know that their mortgage is going to be $7,984 a month.
Yeah.
And they know that if the interest rates go up, that repayment goes up. The $7,984 could be $8,243. Right? If the interest rates go up twice, it could be $8,500. Right? So our responsibility is okay, guys. We want you to make a decision. This is a long-term decision. We want you to make that decision with all of the best information.
But then also, this is what can happen.
Yeah, but some families just back themselves. They're like, so what? We don't care if this is what we wanted.
Yeah,
and we'll pay for it.
Yeah,
and we're like, cool. If you're happy with that, we're happy with that.
Yeah, yeah.
But just as long as you got all of the information to make that decision, and you've been out and you've looked and you know that this is what you really want, and you guys have worked your butts off for this, and this is what you want, man, much love to you guys. Let's go. But what we don't want is people going, wait a minute, nobody told me the mortgage was $7,984. That's crazy. Yeah. How am I going to pay that?
I think that shows the importance of having, the right team around you, having the right team to be able to give you the advice, give you the options, and just give you, the right information so that you do make the right decision.
Yeah, but people
It's a big
underestimate.
decision, $1 million mortgage. Like, man,
It's huge.
It's no joke, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people underestimate how emotional that first home is. Right? So where you really add value is helping people to kind of, like you say, pull back from that decision and to
macro.
just see it a bit wider.
Yeah.
And to just kind of see the whole play.
Yeah, the whole play.
Yeah, see everything that's available to them so they can make the best decision for their family. Because both of those can work out. You can go buy the $1.4 million home and that $1.4 million property. It's perfect. It's in the right area. You guys live happily ever
Embrace
after.
it, yeah.
You're on 300, you end up on $350,000, $400,000.
Yeah, that might cause them to maybe, make more money or get a better career.
Yeah.
Push them to grow within the income.
So there's no bad option there. There's only good information.
Good information. Vital.
And
man.
I've seen families
so important.
back themselves into hard positions.
Yeah.
And they do very well from it.
Yeah.
But like I said, the main responsibility from our perspective is you've got all the information. You've got good information. And you're making the decision that's best for your family.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people reverse out of that and go, you know what, you are right. Like 1.4, that's way too much.
Yeah.
8,000 a month, that's just too much for us. We're going to go back down to that number and we'll find a property that works at that number. And then we've seen they just plant the flag and they're like, man, boom, let's go.
Going.
Let's go 1.4 milli.
Is that all?
First home. So it works. It works both ways, but you need great information.
Yeah, 100%. One last question. I've been thinking about this since the start of our conversation. I think the big conversation around is renting. Half people struggling to pay rent. I guess, and then we talked about, the property market softening right now and people wanting to get into the market. Maybe we've had this conversation before, but for those that know they just need to get into their first property, they've got a solid 40, 50 grand in savings. What are the things they can do right now to start working towards getting into their first property? They've got $50,000 in savings. They know rent's going up. They know they need to get into their first property. They see the government grants. They know that the market's softening. It's a good time for them. What would you say is the 2 to 3 steps they can make right now to get into their first property?
Yeah, great question. So the first thing I is really good for people to get an understanding of is
they're feeling the pain of the rent. They're feeling the pain of, and they know they need to do something, right? What would you recommend? 3 things.
Yeah, so the first thing you want to do, you've got some savings. So that means you've got a savings plan and a savings strategy, and it's working.
Yeah.
Right, which means you probably have some extra income laying around.
Yeah.
Right. So the first thing you want to do is go, okay, I've got some savings. What's my borrowing capacity? You want to figure out what your borrowing capacity is. And here's why. If you've got $50,000 in Sydney, you can buy an $800,000 property with less than that.
Wow.
With less than that. Right? So, if you're young and single and it's only your income, $800,000 might be above what you can actually afford.
Yeah.
Right? So then you might be pushed down to, let's say $600,000. Right? And first thing that you're going to hear is everyone's going to be like, you can't buy nothing for $600,000. Right? So the first thing is scarcity. Everyone's going to be like, you can't, there's nothing for that. But the real question is, well, what can I buy? So number one, figure out your borrowing capacity.
Yep.
Right? Now, you're going to jump online and you'll do the free calculator. Right? And when you do that...
Disclaimer, it is not accurate.
It's going to tell you can borrow, I don't know, $800,000.
Yeah.
You can probably get $650,000.
Okay.
Right? But the good news is your $50,000 is more than enough deposit to buy a $650,000 property as a first home owner in Sydney.
Yeah.
Right? So then it just comes to that property buying triangle.
Yeah, back to the triangle.
Back to buying what you can afford. Back to buying what you can afford. Because $650,000, well, you're only buying a unit.
Yeah.
And people, I got told don't buy a unit. Well, so you got to buy a house? But you can't. Your borrowing capacity is $650,000. So step one is always borrowing capacity.
Yep.
Right? Step two, once you've done your borrowing capacity and you know, then jump in and have a look. So jump on. realestate.com.au, start looking at properties.
Reality.
Right? Because it's better that you've arrived at reality on your own than someone having to tell you what reality is.
And feel like they're crushing your
because you're like, oh, what, you don't believe in me?
Doubt me, you doubting me.
Oh, tell me I can't and I'll show you I can, baby. You know what I mean? And that's not what it is. So do your borrowing capacity and then go and do some research. Jump on realestate.com.au. Have a look around at the actual properties that are there, because it is a rude awakening. And you're going to be like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
In my budget, there is one property available in the 8 suburbs that I said I would live in for that price.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you have to start playing your own game.
Yeah.
Well, where could I afford? So that property buying triangle, it starts playing
Makes
out
sense.
in your realestate.com.au searches. Because you're like, okay, well, maybe I can't get a 3-bedroom unit. What about a 2-bedroom unit?
Yeah.
And you start doing it on your own.
Yeah.
And so what happens is when you finally come and speak to, a professional like teaching about property or someone to help you, you've got a lot of reality and you're very connected. Your feet are connected to the ground for what's realistic.
Yeah, that's right.
And then number 3, it would be definitely get on the phone. You need to speak to a broker, pull in some professionals into your space.
The right team around you.
Yeah, get the right team around you. So you're doing the first parts on your own. I don't know, jump on the Commonwealth Banks or who's ever, smart, Money Smart.
Money Smart?
Money Smart, jump on theirs. They've got good calculators. And it's just like, how much can I borrow? What does that look like?
And that's just an average number. That's not accurate.
Bro, don't take that as gospel. Bro. Yours is going to be lower than whatever it tells you.
Whatever it tells you, okay.
Right? So do your borrowing capacity. Once your borrowing capacity is done, jump in and dream. And you're going to find out your dreams ain't cheap.
Yeah, see what the reality of the market is.
And then number 3, build your team.
Yeah.
Get some professionals around you. Could be a broker, could be someone like teaching me about property, whoever. Build your team and get some professionals around you to get you moving.
Yeah, solid.
Because what you would have just found out in that simple 3-step process, that first property you're buying is not the perfect property for you.
Yeah.
So you want a strategy that's going to get you 2-3 steps ahead in the future. And if you take those 3 steps, you can do that pretty quickly and move through it. And you'll arrive whenever you're speaking to that team that you're building, you'll arrive in a better shape with more realistic expectations.
Yeah, 100%.
And your professional team is going to want to help you to get to the next step.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because, man, you're speaking with people that aren't connected to reality.
Yeah.
And they want this, but they've only got this much borrowing capacity and only this much deposit, and they don't have enough money.
Yeah, disconnection,
Yeah, there's a massive disconnection. So it's good to go through that process a fair bit on your own.
Yeah.
So you're there and you're in a position where people can actually help you.
Yeah, solid. I think that's valuable.
Yeah, I think so too. So for me, my one last question for you is you've spoken about rent and people wanting to get out of rent, but I think the big question for me is when you're speaking to first homeowners today, because you speak to them a lot.
Every day,
Every single day. What's the number one thing that you think is holding them back from taking action now? I'm talking about the people that have the money, they're ready to go. What's stopping them? What's keeping them renting and stopping them from owning a property now, in your experience?
I think they're comfortable. We talk about the poverty game.
So what does that look like?
Well, they're comfortable. They've got options.
Yeah.
So they've got the option. They've got about 50, 100K in savings.
Yep.
They've worked hard. They've got some savings there, but and they're also renting. So they've got a property they rent, and they've got options where, they could travel. They're spontaneous. They can go on holiday.
Yep.
And they still got savings. They can buy what they want. And then I think the fear around, all right, so if we buy property, we're now going to have $1 million debt. But then they go through these moments where their rent increases, and then they have people around them. Big thing is like, we're speaking to people my age, late 30s, 40s, and they have friends that have bought properties. So then they're in a predicament where they know they need to buy property and they feel that they need to buy property for their children and their kids, but they're also in the comfort game because, they open their app, they got 50, 100K.
That's good, baby.
They can go there, they can go on holidays. And so they're in that comfort game. And I think that's, they speak to us and then they want help, but then they kind of go back to that comfort game and not take action. You know what I mean? But then they get to these moments where they're like, all right, we need to do something. Game on. Felise, let's go.
Yeah, that's right. So they've got the capacity to move at speed.
Yeah.
but the comfort game is not built for speed.
Yeah.
It's built for comfort.
Yeah.
That's what, leave it with us, Felise.
It'll change.
Yeah, we'll give you a call next week.
Yeah.
When we get back from our trip.
Yeah.
Babe, where are we going next?
No, we're getting Venise.
Yeah. Oh, but
Crowns.
And I think that's the hard part, is they've got so many options available to them. And I think sometimes those people are the ones that feel like the property they can afford is a step back as well.
Mm.
You know, it doesn't align with what the money shows them they can have in every other space. But property is, man, it's a reality check, bro. It's a reality check. You know, because the reality is that if they had bought humble earlier, they would have been buying the nicer home now. That's the reality.
And that's that macro kind of perspective, right?
Yeah. If they had bought the cheaper property 10, 15 years ago, they would be buying the nicer property now. But now they've got to buy the cheaper property
what
now.
they can afford,
Which is what they can afford.
Just start.
Which to them doesn't even look cheap.
Yeah.
Because now it's actually expensive.
Yeah, now it's,
So
7 figures.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing for those families is to understand that, you know, time is the one thing now that doesn't work for them.
Mm.
You know, it's not, you're not young and in your 20s now having fun. You know, you've got a family, you've got responsibilities, and you've got $100,000 in savings, but you just found out $100,000 when it comes to property. It's actually not that much money.
Wow, crazy, yeah.
In every other area of your life, it's a lot of money. In property, that's like just getting started. Thank you. We'll take, actually, 100, we need 104.
Yeah, 104.
So you're going to need some more money. Not only that,
conveyancing, solicitor fees, pest the building.
you're going to have no savings for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah.
Right. And all of those things coupled, they can freak people out. So all of that can build on that fear. We talked about fear right at the start of the conversation. 100%. So those families have to just take massive action, because that decision doesn't get easier when you're in your mid-50s or, late 50s. Like that gets harder.
Well, then your kids are buying in the market. That makes it even harder.
Or they never buy because you didn't buy.
Drop the mic.
That's right. You can have fun on a holiday, but you can't raise a family there. You know what I mean? Your grandchildren can't live there. So, the families that get into that uncomfortable phase, they drop all the cash.
The earlier you get into it, yeah.
Well, now, we're talking about families who are ready now, but they're comfortable, and all the figures look like, I can do whatever I want. You just got to do what's right. Buying a property is always the right decision. Would you agree with that?
100%.
100%.
100%.
Thanks for joining us this week, guys.
Let's go.
It's Massey Archibald from Teach Me About Property on the Teach Me About Property podcast, and my boy, Felise.
Yo, mean episode.